What's going on, everybody? Good late morning. Stream is in about an hour from the upload of this video. Me and the Hawks Nest going to be talking about the Seahawks, going back and forth on this upcoming Niners game, talking about the bye week. You guys know the drill. So hopefully be there. Starts in about an hour from the upload of this video. All right. So we're doing the defense now. College prospects that caught my eye positively this week on defense. Three nose tackles, including one new guy, which is exciting because true new nose tackles are rare. Um, First, you have Dante Corleone. Welcome back, Cincinnati guy, Bearcat. Three tackles, including half a tackle for loss, which was a sack. Defense only allowed 31 points and 92 rushing yards. So you'd say Corleone probably did his job at that. 3.3 yards per carry. You're probably doing something right as the nose tackle, 70.2. You got Stackhouse at Georgia, Nazir Stackhouse, 5 tackles and a QB pressure. Georgia allowed 28 points, but only 133 rushing yards, not bad. 73.6. And then the new guy, Alfred Collins, Texas. Little bit undersized, but that can work in the NFL. He's not critically undersized like a Jay Ratliff was. He's just a little undersized. He's not one of these 350 pounders. He's probably more like 320, 325. 2 tackles, 1 pass deflection, 2 quarterback pressures. Texas's opponent, which was Florida, only scored 17 points. They did run the ball fairly well, for whatever that's worth. 4.8 yards a carry. 77.5. We got to be a little bit aware of the fact that nose tackle is probably going to be in need after this season, but we need to locate the right kind of guy. It's possible that McDonald's going to want another nose tackle like a Michael Pierce, or maybe somebody even bigger than that. So we'll see what he ends up wanting to build, given a full off season to be able to do it. All right, so edge rusher. You guys know that I love this edge rusher class. I think it's the strongest part of the draft. Maybe receiver, but I'm actually starting to really like these edges a little bit more than even that. Um, some really big names this week. A lot of these guys might end up going in the first round. Abdul Carter of Penn State. I got to see it up close and personal because he was playing the Huskies. 6 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 of which were sacks, forced a fumble, 4 quarterback pressures. And the Penn State defense, despite playing a real offense, not a really a good offense, but not a, Division 1AA or Division 3 offense, 6 points, 119 passing yards, and a 95.2 PFF grade to top it off. Really good game by him. James Pierce Jr. of the Volunteers, another guy who's likely to be a first round pick. 4 tackles, 1 for loss, which was a sack, but 6 quarterback pressures for the Vols. 14 points allowed and only 92 passing yards allowed by Tennessee. 3.5 yards per pass. Really, really strong. 74.2 grade overall. JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau of Ohio State. Haven't talked about him in a while, but he's been on the radar. 4 tackles, tackle and a half for loss, including half a sack, 1 pass deflection or pass batted down, 4 pressures. Ohio State allowed 0 points and only 108 passing yards, 5 yards a pass. Really, really good stuff. Granted, they're playing Purdue, and they're overmatched, but 91.7 PFF. Princely Umanmielen of Ole Miss. 5 tackles for him, 2 for loss, which were the 2 sacks. Forced a fumble, 6 quarterback pressures, so living in the backfield. 10 points allowed by Ole Miss's defense. Less than 190 passing yards, 93.6. Big results. And final guy, I talked about him once before, I think, Donovan Izuruaku of Boston College, the only notable Boston College prospect this time that I'm aware of. But they produce a decent one every now and then. Izuruaku is probably going to be a day 2 pick in this draft. 4 tackles, 2 for loss, both sacks. Forced a fumble, batted down a pass, 6 total pressures, 31 points allowed by the Boston College defense, and almost 400 passing yards. So not all the results were great, but Donovan did his thing, 86.6 PFF grade. All right, linebacker now, and it was actually not bad this week. I found a decent chunk of linebackers that I thought were worthy of some degree of positive, positive admiration. Jalen Walker would be the top guy, and he is really, really fascinating because of how much he'll be able to translate his elite edge rusher game over to also being able to handle off ball stuff in the NFL. 6 tackles, 1 for loss for Georgia, 1 quarterback pressure as well. Georgia didn't have their greatest game, only allowed 133 rushing yards though, 73.5. I think Jalen Walker was doing his thing out there. That's definitely a player that is bringing back those Micah Parson vibes, and I think a lot of teams are going to look at him through that lens. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about a guy like a Jalen Walker. Danny Stutzman of Oklahoma, the Sooners. You don't see this every day. 19 tackles in one game. And Stutzman is one of the guys who will occasionally do something like this, but it usually doesn't get up to 19. Also had a QB pressure. Oklahoma did allow 30 points. But only 135 rushing yards allowed, which is less than 3 yards a carry in this game. 73.6 PFF. Oklahoma's defense, as much as 30 points isn't great, not really the reason why they lost that game, I feel like. Uh-huh. Let's see here. I'll get to why I think that at the end of this video, of course, by the way, when we talk about Billy Bauman Jr. and what he did. So, Geod Campbell of Alabama, he's really building up momentum these last few weeks, I feel like. 12 tackles, 3 for loss, a sack and a half for the Crimson Tide defense, and a forced fumble, and a pass breakup, and 4 total pressures. He's a dog. He is a heat-seeking missile out there, and it's starting to really feel like he's guaranteed top 100 at this point, and maybe he pushes into the first round if he keeps this up. Alabama only allowed 13 points, about 100 rushing yards, 83 PFF grade. Really, really good stuff from Campbell. Barrett Carter, not a monster game by him, but Clemson linebacker did have 4 tackles, including half a tackle for loss and a pass breakup and 2 pressures. And Clemson's defense played really well, only allowed 40 rushing yards. So wanted to get him up here somehow. He was graded out really well by PFF, by the way, 78.7. And Lander Collins, yeah, fun to be able to talk about him every now and then. He had a very interesting day for Utah. 7 tackles, 1 for loss, 2 pass breakups, 3 quarterback pressures. So he's all over the place. He's making plays against the run. He's rushing the quarterback. He's doing stuff in coverage. Utah's defense played pretty well in this game, only 120 rushing yards allowed. So he's bringing some things to the table here. I don't know if Seattle's going to be eager to go after another Utah defender because our last couple didn't work out, but he's seems to me that he'll be a little bit more of a player than Cody Barton was, his brother. And finally, we got safeties, and this time it is actually 4 safeties, 1 slot corner. So let's go through the list here. It wasn't a stellar week for the safeties, admittedly. Makuba, my guy over in Texas, who I've had an eye on since last year. He had a good game, 6 tackles and a pick. Didn't allow anything in coverage. I think he got targeted twice. And 0 yards allowed, 0 completions, 17 points and 132 passing yards led up by Texas. 64.8. I'd say that's a good game. Billy Bauman Jr. for Oklahoma. 5 tackles, including 1 for loss. Recovered a fumble and took it back for a touchdown, which is why I said what I said about OU's defense earlier. Only allowed 4 coverage yards on 3 targets, so actually really, really inefficient to attack him, so that's good. But on one of those completions, it was a touchdown. He gave up a touchdown at the goal line. I don't know if we need to beat him up too much over it, but it does look bad on the scoreboard at the end of the day, right? But OU only gave up 143 passing yards, 5.3 yards per play or pass. Good, well graded out, 72.4. Jalen Reed, which I also had to see up close and personal, playing against Washington. 7 tackles, 1 pick that he took back for 9 yards. Did not give up a single completion in coverage. When he got targeted, he got the pick. And of course, only 6 points, 119 passing yards, 74.1. Jalen Reed, day 3 guy right now, but very interesting to me. We also got a Lathan Ransom here, Ohio State. Now, he's very much a sleeper right now. I think the aggregate has him in like the 7th round, but 4 tackles and a pick that he took back 24 yards. Did not give up a single completion in coverage, 0. And Ohio State allowed 0 points, 110 passing yards, 90.1 PFF. So really excellent game for him. And then finally, this is the guy I've talked about a lot this year, Jahdae Barron of Texas. 2 tackles and a pass breakup. Got targeted 4 times and allowed 6 coverage yards. So feeling good about that. 17 points allowed by UT's defense and only 130 passing yards. You guys know the drill there. So he's not necessarily a super explosive monster numbers day for Barron, but just in general, I like to draw attention to him even when he's doing something as simple as not getting beat up in coverage and making plays on the ball. All right, so that's it for this week. That's what I'm seeing on the defensive side of the ball here. Let me know what you guys think. We're getting near the end here. Not too many college football games left. So, yeah, time to start formulating takes. See you guys in the stream in an hour. Go Hawks. Going to be videos later today as well. Everyone, have a good rest of your day.